Today, as we're all well aware, working in this industry, health professionals and parents everywhere acknowledge the important benefits of skin-to-skin contact, the importance of baby wearing, particularly during the first 6 months of life. Our keynote speaker this morning will discuss those important benefits as well as answer some frequently asked questions about infant development and baby wearing. She is a board-certified pediatrician and a pediatric musculo-skeletal health and wellness expert. That's a mouthful. Thank you. She is currently the director of pediatric sports medicine at University Hospital Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio, as well as an assistant professor at Case Western Reserve University. She is a graduate of John Hopkins University and the George Washington School of Medicine. But most importantly to today's topic, she is an experienced mother and baby wearer. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Amanda Weiss-Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for getting up, which I'm sure in Las Vegas is early in the morning for you guys. I'm going to talk a bit about infant bonding, infant musculoskeletal development, and baby wearing. Again, I come from university hospitals, and Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital is actually one of the hospitals within the University Hospital Health System in Cleveland, and we are the primary medical clinical affiliate of Case Western Reserve University. We're typically very highly ranked by both Parents Magazine as well as U.S. News and World Report, both for pediatrics in general, but especially for our neonatology unit. We're typically ranked either 1 or 2 for neonatology, depending on the year. We have over 134 full-time faculty and over 800 pediatric subspecialists. And the reason why they're not all full-time faculty is they often have to share time with other hospitals because there are only so many pediatric neurosurgeons in the world, for instance. We have almost 250 inpatient beds at our hospital, making us one of the largest hospitals in our country, and a 38 bed level 3 NICU, which was just newly redesigned, and it's fantastic. Every room is a private room for the baby and the parents, so the parents can stay the entire visit with their babies. They have special chairs for helping hold the babies for as often as parents would like so that they get more contact even while their children are sick. And quite frankly, this is nicer than the apartment I lived in when I was a resident at Rainbow. And it is also a level 1 pediatric trauma center. You'll notice the difference between we are level 1 trauma center, which is the highest level of trauma center, but level 3 NICU, which is the highest level of NICU. They should really make it all the same grading system, I think, but so you guys know it is the highest level for each of those. So now I'm going to move on to the interesting stuff. John Kennel is one of our most famous pediatric physicians at Rainbow, and he and his colleague Marshall Klaus in the 1970s popularized the term bonding in infants. And what they noticed was in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, more and more babies were being born in hospitals due to the very high mother-infant mortality rate, even in industrialized countries. And they thought it was very unnatural that once this started to happen, mothers didn't spend time with their babies after they were born. Mothers were basically knocked out for the birth of the babies. The babies were then taken away to a nursery. It took the mom several hours to wake up, and then she would see the baby maybe 3 or 4 times during the day for feeding, and that was it. So only a couple of hours of exposure to their babies during the day. So they did a very small initial study initially with some inner-city type patients, because that's what they had access to at the time. And they increased the amount of time that these moms are able to spend with their babies. So they had them spend 3 hours with them immediately after birth, and then an extra 10 hours during the day with their babies at the hospital. And what they found in these women and infants is that there was significantly less abuse and less failure to thrive in the group that spent extra time with their baby. So in the very early hours, this bonding was very important, especially for these inner-city patients with a lot less social support than the suburban parents that we're typically used to. They also created this huge movement in studying infant bonding. One of the things they also noticed is parents who look their babies in the eye tend to be more bonded. And this became one of the big measures of how well moms were bonding with their infants as they studied people later on, is to see how much face-to-face contact parents were having with their kids. And then the other interesting thing that they noted with further research is that bonding doesn't necessarily happen immediately, and that 50% of moms will say their first contact with their baby, they didn't look at this kid and say, "Oh my God, I'm in love." So half of moms didn't feel that way. And when they talked to these moms, they felt very guilty about this, and they felt that there must be something wrong. And so what they found is even by the end of the week, up to 10% of moms said it took 6 to 7 days to truly feel like they were in love with their babies. And the things that helped them develop this were spending more time, skin-to-skin contact, and face-to-face contact with their babies. And so even when a child's sick, we recognize that it's very important for moms to have as much contact as possible with their babies, to carry them close to the skin, and that in the months after birth and after they leave the hospital, having babies close to them for as long as possible using infant carriers is really helpful in developing this bond. Parents also develop the bond as they recognize that they are competent to calm their child down, that their child responds to them and likes them and will make eye contact with them. All of these help the moms develop confidence and develop a greater bond with their baby. Dr. Faneroff is another doctor at our hospital. I'm sure he would be embarrassed for me to talk about them, but he's basically a god in neonatology, which is very true. He and Richard Stern, is also one of the Rainbow Babies neonatologists, they quite literally wrote the textbook on neonatology that's in every NICU in the country and probably the world as well. And we have access to him at Rainbow. He has been the head of our NICU forever. He was our chairman, and he has been the chair of neonatology for the American Academy of Pediatrics as well, so he's basically brilliant, and also a wonderful guy on top of it. And he was one of the leading people at Rainbow to really develop this bond with baby Bjorn. And what he recognized was that baby Bjorn designed baby carriers to strengthen the infant-parent bond. And he felt the intimate fit of baby Bjorn carrier models helped the baby feel at one with the parent, and that carrying a baby close can ease stress for both the parent and the child, and that parents' natural movements can calm a fussy baby. And this is something that has actually been demonstrated with research, that children who are carried around in infant carriers, or even if you carry them around in your arm if you're a super strong lady, that these are less colicky babies. Babies like to be carried around by their parent, and what the infant carriers do for us is they make it easier on the parent, on the mom and the dad, to carry them around, because everybody knows carrying someone around like this all day can make the biceps and triceps and your lats and deltoids burn. It's not very pleasant. So the infant carriers make it nice for us and the baby.